Hi everybody, welcome to my fourth video for team building. I thank you for stopping by. Really quick note here, I have reached the number of subscribers to give away my 2 songbooks, but I forgot to tell people to leave a comment, so I don't know who to give the songbooks to. So what I'm going to do is the first 5 people that write a comment in the video, I'm going to take them 5 people, draw 2 names out to give away those great songbooks. But anyway, another video, and thanks for stopping by, and let's get busy.
Go, 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 gorilla, go, nah, go.
Okay, Survivor. What you're going to need for this activity is a bag full of random words cut up into pieces and folded up in the bag. And once again, go to Google, search for random word generator, and it makes it so much easier that than to try to look them up yourselves. Anyway, so each person is going to grab 2 pieces of paper out of the bag with items on it. So in a group of 3, there's going to be 6 items between them. Now, I usually front load this activity with you were in a plane crash, you got lost in the jungle, just about any scenario you want to use. Now, what they have to do is come up with a way to survive using the items that are in their hand, their papers in their hand. So sometimes this can get pretty well in depth. So I usually give them like 10 minutes to come up with a way to survive using those items. So anyway, that's survival. Okay, what you're going to need for this activity that works best is a retired rock climbing rope that was maybe used on your ropes course. But if you don't have that, a very long rope will work just as well. Now, you're going to wrap the rope around a tree, and then the ends are going to come out. You're going to divide your group in half. You're going to tell them to pick up the rope with one hand. Now, once they pick up that rope with one hand, they cannot move on the rope anymore. Once it's there, it's stuck there. And anyway, you're going to tell them to make an overhand knot on the tree without letting go of the rope. So this was pretty cool. They get really frustrated with it sometimes. So if they get to the point to where they are really angry, step off to the side, go on to your next activity, and then come back and try it again. So there you go. Okay, this one is about tying knots. So with this one, you're going to use the same rope if you have it that you wrapped around the tree to make a knot in it. But with this one, you're going to tie the rope to a tree and then spread the rope out. Everybody's going to pick up the rope with one hand, and once again, once they pick it up, they cannot move their hand. So they're going to pick it up, and the goal of this activity is tell them to tie 5 knots in the rope without letting go of their hands anywhere. Okay? So tie a rope around the tree, lay it out, have the group pick it up, tell them to tie 5 knots into the rope without moving their hand. Now, if they fail the first time, or if they don't untie the knot from the tree first, which makes it a lot easier when both ends are free, let them try it, and if they fail, have them sit down, plan on how they're going to do it, and keep your ears open a little bit and see if somebody throws the idea out there of untying the rope from the tree. If not, maybe you could move the conversation in that direction. But you don't, again, like the other one, you don't want these guys getting too mad because then you're defeating your purpose. So there you go. Anyway, tying 5 knots. Okay, we just did an activity when the rope was tied around the tree and you tied 5 knots in it. So what you want to do now is, now that you have your 5 knots in there, you're going to tell them to grab the rope once again and tell them to untie the 5 knots that they just put in. Now, if somebody picks it up and grabs a rope where there's a knot, obviously tell them to move it. This sometimes too gets a group a little aggravated, especially if you're working with summer campers. So if it gets too much conflict in the activity, just put it off to the side and then come back and do it later. And it makes for great debriefing if you had to quit and then come back to it later and they were able to do it. So it gives you a lot of great questions asked during the debrief. Why were you able to do it now when you couldn't do it before? So anyway, there you go. Untie the knot. All right, the scream race. Now, I usually use this to transfer between icebreakers and team building. Now, it's not really a team building activity, but you'll understand why I use it in just a minute. Now, the only thing that you need for this activity is a starting line. That's all you need. Now, have your group line up at the starting line, and the rules for the race is very, very simple. When you say go, they take a big breath and they take off screaming. Now, they have to continue screaming until they run out of breath. When they run out of breath, they have to stop. Now, you're going to see this happen. I've never seen it not happen, okay? Every time I work with a group of young people, they cheat. So you'll say go, and everybody's screaming. You see some people stopping, but there's always that 5 or 6 that go so far that you know that there's no way possible that they made it that far. So what you do is, depending on the size of your group, have them turn around and take it in groups of, 5 more if you have a large group, and say go, and have them 5 start off from where they are and scream all the way back to the starting line. So after you get that done, here's where you run across the people that cheated. So you're going to give them the opportunity, and this time they can't hide it because there's not, 30 people screaming. Tell them to go. Now, when none of these people make it back to the starting line, it's actually good for you, because then you can debrief the activity, as in following directions, and how important it is to follow directions as you move forward with team building and the activities get harder and harder and harder, and then safety comes. So you explain to them that it's so important that you follow the directions exactly throughout the day. So anyway, when your groups or your kids can't make it back to the starting line, obviously they cheated. Don't belittle them, but use that as a great example as to why they must follow your directions moving forward as the activities start to get harder. Okay, this one is called noodle tag. The only items that you need for this activity is 2 pool noodles and some way to mark off perimeters where the game is going to be played. So you have 2 people with noodles. You say go. Now the 2 people with noodles has to hold hands, and they run around. Now as they hit people with their noodle, that person joins their group. So if I tagged you, you would join my group and you would take the noodle. And as you go, the group gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why it's important to have perimeters in here, because if you don't, the group will never catch them. But if you have it roped off, what will happen is the person that's if they work it right, will get in a corner. They can make a half circle, go in and get them, and there's nothing the person can do about it. So start the activity. Give them 10 minutes to play, depending on the size of your group. Then stop the activity, pull them over to the side, let them plan for 5 minutes, have them come back and do the activity again, and then during your debrief, discuss the difference between the first time and second time and why one was better than the other. So there you go, noodle tag.
Release day. Release day.